Hello everybody and welcome back to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Avi and today I will be playing a real kind counselor by the name of Dr. Tomomi Masaru, as well as your local real kind idiot thief boy Arata. And with me today is my wonderful, amazing friend who is super talented and I love the artwork of. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, hello. Hello, I am Mira, and I will be playing your local idiot burb boy, Sammy Satomi.
Hi, Sammy. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Um, as I try to figure out words, a long time ago, probably I think this was like way back during the disappearance of Camille Christie, or like after it.
It was like right after. It was right after because inmate noticed a few things about how Sammy was reacting and would have mentioned that to Arata, and so Arata had a conversation with his older brother.
Yeah, and during that conversation, Arata told Sammy that he would help him find some help in the mental health respect. Um, this is as good as we're gonna get for now. Arata has told you about this counselor, his old school counselor, actually, um, who is actually pretty good at his job and has invited you to come with him for a first meeting, so to speak.
hmm
Uh, how you feeling?
Well, Arata will know that he is very nervous because his shading is purple. It's not a dark purple, like he's really scared. It's just kind of like that middle tone purple that means he's very nervous and anxious, like strongly. So, but he's not actively afraid. It's just the nerves, nervous. Ah.
Yeah, Narada probably just like pats your shoulder and says something along the lines of, "It's okay. Don't, I'm gonna be honest, Sammy. This guy is a huge dork. You'll be fine."
and and he knows about he gestures to his face, and then gestures to Arata's face, where a mask would be.
And Narada just kind of nods.
Some of that purple goes away.
Yeah,
It's more of a lilac now because he was very nervous about spilling secrets on accident.
yeah. Arata, like, still keeps his hand on your shoulder. In, you're probably like standing in the waiting room area.
hmm
Right outside, Masaru's office. Um, Let me think. Uh, you're standing there. Arata's essentially giving you a pep talk before this.
hmm
And he's just kind of chilling there with you, and he says, "Sammy, don't worry, okay? Everything here is confidential. It's he's kind of has to keep things like that because he's technically a doctor."
He nods and just he looks at you shyly and just he just well, is it still okay if you stay with me for the first visit?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's why I'm here in case you need me.
And the rest of the purple just kind of fades away as he kind of just relaxes a little bit because he is nervous and brother, sibling, he needed sibling.
It's very cute. You're taller than him. He still reaches a hand to rustle your hair
And there's a melty Sammy. He just kind of leans up against you and just rests his head against your shoulder slash head and just melts. You now have a melty bird in your arms. Congratulations, Arata. You've broken the case. You've firmly solidified him back into calm.
I think half heart not like he says this kind of teasingly. He says, man, I probably should have waited until after the meeting to do this.
Shush. Puts a hand on your face. It's fine. I can walk.
And he moves his hand off your head and just kind of like straightens you back up.
He is pouting. He wants snuggles. How dare you make him relax like this? He wants snuggles now. He is pouting at you.
And he kind of just gives you like that brotherly like elbow nudge. Before the door finally opens, and standing in the doorway is a very messy-haired, glasses-wearing man who is holding onto a clipboard, and he says, "All right, Sammy Satomi."
Sammy kind of subconsciously kind of just straightens like, oh, yes, right, me. Present! He actually does say present and does a little raise of hand and then kind of just looks sheepish. It's pretty obvious that he's the one that's, yes, hi.
I think Masaru kind of laughs and he says, I'm just joking with you. They're the only ones here. Come on."
He just kind of shuffles in place a little bit. He looks a little sheepish still as he kind of just nods and comes in, and he does reach out to grab Arata's hand though, because nerves.
Yeah,
Oh, it's really
Arata,
happening right now.
Arata takes your hand and follows you in. Masaru closes the door behind you lot. Would you like to roll perception?
Yes, I would love to roll a perception. That's a +8. And gotta remember it's R. Do. Oh, unnatural 23.
Love that. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Sammy! You see a lot. This office is kind of, small. The building itself is like one of those buildings where, like, there's, like, multiple establishments inside it that are pretty small. And you're not on the first floor. You're, like, probably on the second or third. The office is small. There is a desk where all of Dr. Masaru's notes are and whatnot, but there is also like a couch and an armchair, presumably for doctor and patient. But there are a lot of snacks. There are snacks available. As well as a bunch of juice boxes, namely apple juice. And as you walk past the desk, presumably to get to where the couch is, you notice that there is a framed picture on the desk of what looks to be Dr. Masaru and a young lady. And they both seem to be around the same age in the photo.
Sammy notices that and tucks it away. Oh, interesting. People in Masaru's life. Cool.
Mm-hmm. And, So Masaru, is, gesturing for you to take a seat, and he does not, in fact, mind that Arata is here. He is okay with it, but he just says, go ahead and take a seat, and if you want some snacks, feel free to take those too.
I do have to say, Sammy, I feel like Sammy noticed the picture first and then the snacks because food scarcity. My boy very much appreciates snacks
Yeah.
and just he he is going to take a few, and I am going to just roll real quick to see how stealthily he does this because some habits die hard.
Very
Okay, with a
stealthily.
26, very stealthily he has slipped a few snacks into his hammer space, just tucking them away for later. But he is gonna open like a bag of chips and just start munching.
Yeah, and I think Masaru gets a couple of like juice boxes, uh, enough for each one of you in the room, and he takes a seat and settles in the armchair.
Hmm. I kind of want to paint like that Sammy's kind of like curled up, kind of like how like when you sit on a couch and stuff and like you kind of curl yourself up into a ball, but it's like slightly sideways because you're leaning on someone else.
Yeah.
That's Sammy. He is doing a curl up in Arata's space.
Pat on your shoulder, and you see as Masaru kind of just adjusts his notes. I will say, because I forgot to say it when you rolled perception. His
Mm-hmm.
desk is in what I would call an organized mess. There does seem to be like a rhyme and reason with how things on his desk are arranged. It's just very messy.
ADHD. Yes.
Um, I would say in the same sense as same vibe as like a college student.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um,
Everything has a rhyme and reason. It just looks really chaotic sometimes.
yeah, and he his clipboard does have like some notes on it. They're kind of just like haphazardly put there. Um, and as he sits down and gets and a lot of you get more comfortable, he kind of just fixes them and makes they're straight. Um, and once he does that, he kind of just rests it on his knee. Uh, and he looks up to you and says, "All right, just so you know, this since this is our first time having uh, excuse me, an appointment together. This is just going to be getting to know each other. Just kind of like rapport building. Um, so don't feel compelled to tell me something you're not comfortable with, okay?"
He nods. And he is like he's kind of finished munching a few of the chips, but like I bet there's like some left.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just kind of fiddling with like the of uh top of the bag. And it makes a nice very audible crinkle noise.
Yeah. And I think um what he asks first, I think what he says first actually is, so you're Sammy Satomi, and just so we get introductions out of the way, my name's Dr. Masaru. um Arata tells me that you're from Inkwell, right?
Yeah, that was where I was raised for the most part, though our family would go to Furuma when he kind of pauses a little bit, brows furrowing because he can feel the the silence effect over the family name, and he's like, right, that's a thing. And he just kind of shakes his head a little bit and goes, we would go to Furuma in our family manor house place. Um, and uh, mom and dad would do some family business that's not savor not good. Um, it kind of ties to why Arata thought I should talk to someone.
And Masaru nods and he says, "Do you feel comfortable telling me what that family business was?"
Yeah, it's he kind of sighs a little bit and he just kind of he's wearing detachable sleeves and he just detaches his right sleeve and kind of just lets it tuck kind of fall into his lap and he just kind of extends his arm to show Masaru and goes see the purple not the purple the multicolored dots on my arm.
He leans
they're
forward and nods.
they're not freckles like someone would think. It's I scar the same emotion as my shading. Well, the same color as my shading because it's tied to my emotions. Um, and our ink, all of my family's ink is the same as our shading, and it has emotional properties. So, some generations back, my family started selling ink, our ink, and it. My parents, they I don't know the full story. I was young, but they decided to make the business their own and be in control of the production, so to speak.
Mm.
But it's can't even say what the type of ink was, but it got really popular, especially in Toonkind circles. And so a man named Sinclair decided he wanted the production for himself. It's it was really good expensive ink because it was you would produce it only in limited amounts, and when that year's supply was up, it was up. And it could also be used for components for spells and stuff.
I love how Masaru said that this was just rapport building, and then you immediately dumped right into his lap.
Yep, just Sammy. He's if people are willing to ask, he's not afraid to say it. It happened,
Oh,
and
Sammy.
he just like I was trying, but he just was like, I no, I have reached a point in my character development where I can say that this happened. This happened. This is not one of the most messed up things in my life that's happened before. Like it's saying something that that he it says something that this is the first thing you get out of him because it's so integral to his entire backstory. Because shit's fucked with the Jaxes.
Oh, it sure is. So I rolled a 7 on Masaru's history. I don't think he's heard of the Toon trade, which makes sense because he's in Yedo, and Einkel is very far
Mm-hmm.
away.
Yep. Like he probably knows that there's like, certain unsavory people are likely to do this, but like you would think that it's modern times. You wouldn't expect it to still kind of be happening,
Yeah.
kind of. So yeah, hi Masaru. This boy in front of you is a victim of trafficking.
Yeah. God.
I am so sorry.
I I'm trying to figure out how he responds to this. Um, cause that sure is a lot, and you are a toon. Your ink is basically your blood.
Yep. And like he just kind of, I feel like he just kind of shuts his mouth after a moment and rubs the back of his neck and goes, "I am sorry, but
No, no.
that's
Oh, continue.
I just I know this is supposed to be just a get to know you kind of thing, and but it's a lot. It's not even the most fucked up part, really. That's just the tip of the iceberg, and I
Don't feel bad about telling me things, okay? This is kind of what I have a degree in. It is basically my job to listen to people talk, even if it is not the greatest things, and even if this is only the tip of the iceberg.
okay. It
So, your family was involved in this form of trafficking, right?
yeah. I guess you would consider it uh, body trafficking initially, and then it turned into people actually wanted us, and it became people trafficking, not just ink. And I have an older sister. We got separated the night that everything basically went wrong. Well, I mean, separated from my parents, our parents. We were together for a little bit, and then she told me to run, so I ran, and then somehow I forgot that she even existed, and I suspect that it had something to do with a monster hiding in our hometown in Haku, but I'm still really foggy on the details. We reunited when an adventure took us to back to Haku and dealt with the monster. Um, but I spent 8 years on the streets, and it's only been 2 years since I've actually managed to get off of the streets.
And you see him nod. I will say he's probably like been jotting down like really quick notes. The more you
Mm-hmm.
continue, and boy, do you have a lot going on. So he's like doing this in shorthand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he was going to say about something about traumatic repression, which is an actual like mental thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then you said that there was a suspect of magical monsters, and that's not something he has expertise in.
I mean, it could be honestly a mixture of both. Sammy doesn't know.
Yeah, I actually, I think he would say something about this. And I think he says, I think what he asks is, how certain are you, sorry, how certain are you that you forgetting about your sister is because of magical means, or because of a monster?
Well, um, considering the fact that I started remembering little things about when we were kids, about me and my sister. When I finally reunited with her, um, and that was kind of after the we defeated the monster, but the monster had eaten her memories, and then it didn't come back. So I don't know for sure. I don't know if it's something else or it's just me wanting to forget. Because I know I repressed my emotions during those years when I was on the streets.
Mm.
Because numbness is the same color as my skin, white. So if I went numb enough, it meant they couldn't find me. And it made dealing with being on the streets a lot easier.
Mm. In that case, I. Hmm. I think what he ends up saying is, did you know that people have an ingrained response to trauma, which is to repress it so hard that they don't remember exactly what happened?
Considering I spent 8 years thinking I was the only person really left from my family, I that that kind of tracks.
It's. Hmm. It happens sometimes. Sometimes a memory is causes a person so much pain that the brain uh, assumes that it's better to not think about it. So, in essence, they just. I'm not doing a great job of describing this because I, me, Avi, am not a licensed professional. I probably should have prefaced this FPS with that, but that's fine. Um, he says, you, to protect yourself, the brain kind of shuts that memory off, but it's not completely gone. Certain things, such as maybe reuniting with your sister, can cause those memories to resurface. It
Sammy gives a thoughtful nod.
it would not surprise me if it wasn't entirely that monster's fault, but I am not exactly an expert on creatures like that.
I mean, maybe it just needed to jolt my memory
That's possible too.
because all of the memory stuff was already getting kind of jumbled, and then got the memories back, and there was Sasha, and it helped.
Is Sasha your sister?
Yeah, yeah. Her name is Sasha.
And he nods. I think what he ends up asking is, do you like Sasha? Ugh. Do you like Sasha?
Oh, she's really nice. I I wish I hadn't forgotten her. It would have been nice to hold on to the fact that she was alive, even if, and his hands kind of crinkle around the bag, and he looks down. Even if she, even if I would have known that she was with Sinclair all those years, I didn't know.
That's not your fault, Sammy. It sounds like she seems to care a lot about you, especially if she told you to get away from everything that happened.
Before she lost her memories, she told me that we had siblings. Our parents are actually alive and doing better than when we were kids. I, I think I think that's what she was trying to say when before we had to deal with the monster and it decided to eat her memories. And now I can't follow up and make sure that Sasha wasn't lying to herself. Because I I didn't realize that they were hurting me until someone pointed it out, said that that was something horrible to do to your kid. I I just thought it was normal.
And Masaru nods and he says, sometimes when we don't have an outside frame of reference, things that seem normal to us is actually pretty taboo in the rest of society. I don't think I can blame you for thinking like that when you were younger, but I'm glad you're able to see that now.
Yeah, I when I found out that my parents were alive, I still decided that I wanted Arata's name if he would let me, and that's where the found family paperwork came in. And he kind of slightly bonks his shoulder against Arata's.
And Arata's just like as if that would get rid of me.
Sammy's like just like his expression is very confused, as in, why would I want to get rid of you?
He sticks his tongue out at you, and he's just like, no matter what you choose, I am going to be a thorn in your side forever.
He doesn't really have a response to that. He just kind of mushes face against your shoulder. Sibling,
They sure
nuzzle.
are siblings.
He's just like, brother, don't have words, but cling, cling, mine.
Oh, hang on.
Mm. I still can't believe like the first like, where are you from? Trauma dump. I wasn't even planning on that.
Sammy's just very talkative.
He is. He is. He got to the point. He got to the point where in his character development he wasn't scared to talk about it anymore. And I hold him. He is too honest for his own good.
um, I pat him. Don't worry. I can probably guide this
You
to a
can what?
realization later. I think Masaru kind of yeah, Masaru kind of smiles at the little display of found family and whatnot, and I think what he ends up saying is you mentioned that something went wrong and that you had to get separated from your parents. Do you remember what exactly happened?
Sorry, could you say that again? My internet was being a jerk.
Oh, he says, you said that there was a day when everything went wrong and you had to get separated from your parents. Do you remember what exactly happened?
Yeah, it there was a fire when we were in Furuma. I was 10. It was right after my birthday. We'd been in Furuma for about a month. It was a few days after my birthday that the fire happened. Sasha had snuck up and we were kind of having our own little private happy birthday kind of thing because mom and dad didn't really let me see her very much because she was looking back. I think I remember when they started taking her ink, she got really tired and she wouldn't be able to play with me like I was. She's 2 years older than me, and she was everything. My whole world was just Sasha and Miss Nana, our nanny. When I was younger, they separated me and Sasha because I turned 7 and they wanted to draw ink for me, and I was so scared. I didn't want to do it. And Miss Nana, I'm not sure if she ever actually knew what was going on. She just knew I needed to go to a certain part of the manor. And I threw a fit, and one thing led to another, and I broke her arm really bad. I have rages.
Oh, hang on a sec.
E.
That was weird. My mic was making some weird noises. Well, my
I
headphone
thought that
was.
was your phone buzzing.
No, that was my that was something going on with my computer. I don't know what that was. Anyway.
Whack.
Alright, continue.
Okay. Yeah, he kind of has this faraway look in his eyes as he's actively recalling what he can actually remember, and it's actually a lot. Like he's kind of got his brows furrowed a bit because he's actually remembering snippets that he's never actually fully comprehended until now. Like there are some new details as he's talking. Like so, like he's kind of his brow is furrowing a little bit as he's talking because up until this point he hadn't thought back that far since meeting Sasha, and now he's remembering snippets that he previously didn't remember. And he goes, I even breaking Miss Nana's arm on accident because when I was little, I couldn't control my strength and broke her arm. I still got dragged into getting ink drawn because that's what our family did. And I didn't see Miss Nana for a really long time. I was young enough that time is hard to tell when you're young, but it was sometime after we returned that year back to Einqual, she came back. She never treated me the same, and I wasn't allowed to play with Sasha. Alone, at least. I think they were scared of me.
Hi, Maki. You're making a mess in my room.
Maki, our beloved.
Man, yeah, I have to agree with the audience. Man, Sammy's family sucks.
They do!
I'm just like trying
They
to.
do suck.
I'm also like trying to remember how did we get here because Masaru asked what happened on the day the everything went wrong.
Sammy was basically giving context to the fact that Sasha had to sneak in for Sammy and her to have a little celebratory birthday
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
He was giving context to that, and I hold up my boy. He is neurodivergent and will go on tangents if you let him, he will go on a tangent.
He
I
sure
am
did.
sorry.
He sure did go.
He sure did go on another trauma tangent.
Yeah.
I am so sorry. He is so talkative.
I think it's funny because I think Arata just kind of pokes your arm and he says, "That didn't answer the question, Sammy."
Oh, right. What? Sorry. What was the question again? Because I feel like he got lost in his brain enough that he does not remember the original. He got sidetracked by new memory. Hello.
And Masaru just kind of like chuckles a little and he says, "I was asking you what exactly happened on the day it went wrong."
Oh, right. Yeah.
You're
Sasha and I were together that night. And then we started smelling smoke. And we ran into our parents, and they basically shoved us into one of the secret passageways that we didn't even know about until they had to use it. And it took us underground for a very long time. And by the time we got out, there had been something happened when we were trying to get out. There was some structural failure with how hot the fire was burning, and Sasha protected me. I don't have any burns at all, but she does. She burned to help me, and I saw her go down, and I picked her up and just started going. The tunnel, it ended up, it came out in the forest that was really close by. And then we just kept going until we reached the next major city, which was Earlstown. But Sinclair was there because it's a port town, and we everything's kind of hazy because Sinclair really liked charm person, liked making people trust him.
You say this, and I think I mentioned this once before on recording, but I'm gonna say it again. Uh, Yeto has a fun, neat little cultural thing where enchantment magic and any magic that alters the mind is kind of frowned upon.
Mm-hmm.
And Masaru kind of just shudders a little bit.
That makes Sammy relax a bit because, oh, someone else who shares his aversion to that kind of magic. Yay! And he actually kind of gestures to his eyes and goes, Sinclair managed over the years, as I kept running into him. He managed to use so much charm magic on me that it scarred my eyes. Gold. Same color as his magic.
Hmm. And Masaru nods and he says, "You kept running into him."
Yeah, right when I was about to get off the streets is when I first ran into him. I was with a friend of mine, Coda. We'd had an argument over me trying to find another friend who I'd met on a weird adventure that we don't need to get into, but I ran into him for the first time in 8 years, and it was confirmation to him enough that I was alive and that our family ink still lived. And it's only because my friend Coda was very, very pissed off that we actually managed to escape. And then I was about a week or so later, I was kidnapped for the second time in my life by Sinclair and his men. And it was a ragtag group of theater security guard, my friend Coda, my friend Tally, and my friend Benji, who saved me. And that was the second time. But I was fighting him tooth and nail so hard that he used way more enchantment magic than I've ever felt in my entire life outside of the third time that we ran into each other. And I walked away with scarred eyes. Gold.
God, what do you say to this?
Like, he kind of just grins wryly at just the stunned silence because yeah, no, it's a lot.
It is a lot. You're a teenager. Um,
Yep, he was 18.
yeah, you were a teenager when this happened. I think that's what kind of pisses Masaru off inwardly, but he doesn't make a show of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in fact, I think what he ends up doing is he kind of takes off his he takes his glasses and he pushes them up into his hair, you know, kind of like you know the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just sitting on
Like
top of his head. And
Yeah, like I can't relate really just because I need my glasses to see
yeah, no, he kind of does.
at all.
He does that like really quickly to like rub a hand against his face and then like readjust his
Mm-hmm.
glasses.
Mm-hmm.
There is um
Like
very
even if Sammy can't tell that he's pissed off, there is that sense of Jesus fucking Christ.
yeah, that is a lot.
It's a lot, and that was only the second time.
That was only the second time, yeah, and I think Masaru is debating whether or not he should ask about the third time. Because if the second time was that bad, I think,
What was the third?
yeah, I think, thank you, audience.
I'm so sorry,
um, I think what he ends up, I think what he ends up saying before he continues the like little back and forth they have going on is, actually, I think what he does is he slides you another like box of apple juice and another snack.
he will take those, and I'm actually gonna see if he slips them into his hammer space. So we're gonna see how stealthily he does this because he's got food in his hands right now.
Mm-hmm.
So he's
Okay,
okay.
mangoes.
Oh, that's an 11. You very clearly see that he slips those into his hammer space in his sleeve, his left sleeve, because he still has he's his right hand sleeve is still in his lap. He forgot to put it back on.
I think this is the first time Masaru has seen a hammer space in action, so there is a bit of like watching that as it happens. But I think what he what he says is that is a terrible thing to happen. And I'm sorry to hear that it happened to you, Sammy. Are you sure you want to keep talking about this?
I'm it happened. It happened. I'm That happened when I was 18. I'm 20 now. It still sucks, but I'm not as raw about it. It's he bites at his lip a little bit because he's like he can kind of see how this whole entire experience has flavored his self-worth, how everything he's been through is flavored how he views himself, but he doesn't know how to actually put that into words because, oh, hey, how do you say to someone that I have a self sacrifice complex?
Ugh. Ugh.
Because he's now starting to think about his what he did during the disappearance of Camille Christie Gaines.
I think what Masaru ends up saying is, well, even if it's happened a while ago, Sammy, it still happened and it's okay to feel upset over it. But if you're certain you want to continue, I don't mind. Just let me know if it gets to be too much, okay?
Yeah, it's it's nice to talk about it. It's it's nice to know that it's fucked up as it was. To see someone else, just acknowledge that it's not okay. I The third time was I was contacted by a fellow detective that she's not my biological aunt, but found family is really great for finding family, as the term is. Um, but my detective aunt, Detective Lynn, she contacted me right a few days, well, a day before my birthday. I got word from Auntie Lynn that Sinclair was back in town and color changing toons were disappearing. I was making my way her, back to her office network when I wasn't looking for it, but the plot really wanted me there. And there was a kid, little UPA color changing toon. Their name was Tomomi. They their sibling had been taken. That's why they were in town. They were asking Lynn for help. That's why we knew that that's why we knew that Sinclair was in town, and I saw red when I saw that kid getting into. Oh, they were going to take a kid. So I beamed one over the head with the phone I had in my hammer space. I was trying to warn my ex because he also changed colors a little bit. Um, so I was warning my ex to stay careful, which honestly probably was a really good thing, but it also kind of made things a little awkward because uh yeah, that was my ex. And so he got involved. I was going to be meeting up with Arata, which I was going to talk to you as soon as I had hung up from Gil. And then I was just seeing red and like boom, phone to the face. Made a really satisfying crunch, actually. It broke into pieces.
Arata snorts.
Yeah, but then one of the other bastards got the jump on me, and the next thing I know, I was in a wagon. And Sinclair was right there. He kind of sighs a little bit, and I feel like he's like managed to eat the rest of the chips, and he kind of just balls the wrapper up.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's probably like a little trash bin nearby.
yeah, he will throw away his trash, and then he looks away from both Arata and Masaru.
And I think Masaru kind of takes a moment and kind of looks over his notes a bit. And well, you were wondering about this earlier, so I'm just gonna have Masaru bring it up on his own.
Mm.
I think what he says, what he ends up asking is, do you do that a lot? Do you, excuse me, do you happen to help people out like that a lot? even to the point of your own endangerment?
He is looking up at the ceiling. His shading is turning a hot pink. He is embarrassed at being caught out because he just kind of he can neither confirm nor deny, your officer.
Even if Masaru doesn't know what your colors
He
mean,
very much looks embarrassed.
he very much looks embarrassed, and he says, I mean, I can certainly understand why.
Sometimes my feet move without me thinking. And other times I have enough time to think, and then I'm moving anyways.
And Masaru nods and he says, so you're more of a action-oriented person then?
Usually, yeah. Everything goes so fast sometimes. You just have to move. On the streets, you can't think. You have to be ready to move whenever.
That was going to be my next question. If you think this is an instinct you've gathered after spending so long on your own.
Yeah. It's hard to remember sometimes that I'm not alone. That it's not just me trying to help.
And you see, what does he say? I think he kind of writes down a few more notes before he looks back up at you, and he says, do you want to know something about Yiddish belief, Sammy?
He finally actually kind of looks at you and he tilts his head. Sure. I mean, I really like learning about culture and stuff, especially when he kind of leans on Arata a little bit, especially when it comes to family stuff. So yeah, I don't mind learning.
And
What is it?
Masaru kind of gives you a smile and he says, there is a belief here in Yedo that people are a lot more interconnected than we think on the surface level. That no matter what happens to one person, it will be felt by people who are many degrees of separation from that one person. Think of it as like a drop of water in a pond. Those ripples spread out very, very far. The impact you have on the world around you, Sammy, it's not small. Not It might look like it from the perspective you see yourself in, but those ripples will spread outward and continue to spread. You're not alone, even if there is nobody else around you.
bud. We're gonna see if you're gonna cry.
Oh boy.
I think his eyes get shiny, but he doesn't actually burst into tears.
I think what Masaru does, because he is a counselor, he would have these. He pushes like a box of tissues closer to you. So,
He's gonna grab the box of tissues and just keep them in his lap.
yeah, just to make sure you have something to wipe your eyes with.
Mm-hmm. And he gives a little nod. Just logically he understands, but habits die hard.
Yeah.
He actually he needs something to fidget with. He's done with the wrapper. He needs something to fidget with, so he's actually going to pluck a tissue from the box and start kind of twining it around his hands.
Oh.
And he he kind of bites at his lower lip and goes, I think the third time, the last time, the time right before my birthday. I think that was the worst one. Because he said I forgot the reasons why I shouldn't have tried to escape the first time. The reasons he tried to hammer into me the second time I was in his grasp. So he modified my memories so I wouldn't forget anything of that experience. For as long as that moment stretched. And when he gave me this, and he kind of turns his body a little bit, and he was wearing his well, actually he's gonna turn his body a little bit so Masaru can see his shoulder more clearly, the one that's uncovered, and he's going to unpluck his hairpins of disguise.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. So yeah, first off, Masaru, you see that there are a lot more scars than just the freckles on Sammy. I'm so sorry.
Oh gosh. Oh dear.
Yeah, so but he's specifically highlighting one that is a sigil on his arm. You can connect the dots to what it actually is and how he probably got that.
Yeah.
And he can remember every single second of that. So, lovely. Sinclair is a bastard.
Sinclair's a bastard, but it's cool because he got a change of heart.
Yep. And he kind of just pulls back his hair up and quickly puts the hairpins back. And the illusion settles back into place again. But now you know that that was definitely an illusion.
Yep.
Not true.
Oh, she sure does.
And he also saw a little bit of red peeking up from, well, no, it would actually be down because it goes across his chest. He is wearing a crop top, so there would be a little bit of red peeking out by his side that he would have noticed, like, right off the bat. Because, shiny. That's a really bright, vibrant color. If you want him to roll perception to see how much else he saw while Sammy was gesturing, you can.
Yeah.
Or if you want him to just kind of see those two right off the bat. then yeah.
My dice says 7 and only 7.
Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna say that he saw a little bit of the red from poking out from underneath his crop top, and then the scar that he was very directly showing you.
Yeah.
Oh, but he would actually have seen on one on the, since it was the bare arm, he would have seen what would have been a spell scar of hold person and what looks like also some puppetry strings that are all gold, by the way.
Ugh. Yeah. Yikes. Yikes.
So yeah, that's all from Sinclair except for the red one. You don't really know what that's from, but it looks like it was potentially something with the slashing damage.
Yeah.
Because like all you can really see is like a little tip of it kind of poking through by his ribs. So yeah, I do it, Jazz. It's my boy has been through hell. He's gonna go through hell again.
Yikes. Anyway, as I try to gather thoughts, this very clearly looks like a brand, right? Like just to
Yep.
be okay. Just to be clear.
Yeah. Yeah, like I was like I was couching it in phrases just because I was like I don't know if I want to outright say it, but since we're outright saying it, yeah, it does look like a legit brand.
Okay.
Though it's branded in gold, but you remember Sammy mentioned, yeah, no, I feel whatever emotion I'm feeling, that's the color I scar in. And if you'll recall, uh shoot, charm person makes you very like happy to see the person. You view them as a friend.
Yeah.
That's his happy color that it's branded in.
Youch.
Yeah. So like you get the impression that he remembers the feeling of, oh, friend. Oh, betrayal. Oh, censored swear words to the nines.
Yeah. What do you say to this? I don't think you do say anything. That is.
Yeah. It like he just kind of like I feel like at this point he would actually put his sleeve back on.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of fidgets in place and goes, but the third time did lead to him getting captured because my aforementioned ex, Auntie Lynn, Arata, and my friend, one of my best friends, March, they all noticed that I was missing. Well, Gil knew I was missing because he heard me up until the point where I smashed a goon's head in with the rotary phone. Cool plot device, that. That's really cool. Like, it's cool. It's nice and heavy, and you can use it as a bludgeoning weapon if you really need to. It's great.
Arata gently pokes you and says, you're going on a tangent again.
Oh, right. Sorry. Like he was trying to kind of lighten the situation up a little bit because he knows that this is a lot.
And like Masaru does kind of laugh a little at that. And he says, I wouldn't know, I'm not actually an adventurer.
He kind of opens his mouth and then shuts it because, oh, right, some people just stay home and they don't get swept up into plot. Whack. That's wild.
Also, he's real kind in a real kind country.
I know, but I hold up Sammy. He forgets that the plot is not, it doesn't work the same outside of toon countries. So I sit here, he just like is like, oh, right, that doesn't happen as often over here. Right, because like he's internally very convinced that Arata got swept up into plot when Arata told him his backstory. He is very convinced that that was the plot, sweeping up and doing stuff. Like
No.
even if it was other beings like doing the stuff, like he's just like that is plot. That is plot right there. That is all the hallmarks of plot. I am not saying anything, but that's plot right there.
God, Sammy, I love you, but sometimes people are just toyed with by the gods.
I know, but like I hold him. He's just like, if that happened in Einquil, that would be the plot. I don't know what to tell you.
God, I love these boys. Um, I think um Masaru ends up asking again, are you alright now? After what happened?
Yeah, right. I am a lot better than I would be if it wasn't for the spirit rogues. And he just kind of nudge Arata. Eh, eh.
I think Masaru does kind of laugh at that and says, yes, they do have a way of swooping in and saving the day.
Mm-hmm. And well, I'm he looks at Arata for confirmation that he can say this out loud because he's like, wait, I do I can
Yeah,
I?
Arata checks to make sure that the door is closed. It is closed, and he just gives you a nod.
It was really empowering to be able to do what the spirit rogues do because I having one for a brother and knowing that there's a way for people like Sinclair can be able to connect with the remorse that they shoved away. Them being able to do that again and being able to make sure that what went wrong goes right and being able to see that in person at the trial after it had been stalled for months and Sinclair confessed. There's still ties that are. Sinclair got shot. He survived, but he's mute now, and there's other people involved that plot isn't finished yet, but
There is a lot more going on than you thought.
yeah. Um yeah. Uh, so this is the most recent stuff that we're dealing with, but um I oh gosh, he's like trying to figure out how to he's trying to figure out how to say this. I'm trying to figure out how to say this because ugh, into silence plot whack. Uh he he kind of ruefully rubs the back of his neck and goes, I ran away from Earlstown. And that was originally to get away from Sinclair. It turns out that I had a very good reason to not stay in Earlstown, because the Lord of Earlstown, who governs there, also is in the same business as Sinclair. And, and I'm pretty sure it's not to sell things, but to buy things and people. He shudders. And he and his partner, they I have a friend, and the Lord's partner really really wants my friend back, with all of that, what that implies. And I found out after reuniting with my sister that I was being spied on, and that I got a letter, and there was a hidden powder on the letter, and it somehow, I don't fully understand it, but he kind of takes a deep breath, does the sigh, and goes, I'm currently under a Gios, and it's only because my current partner and I are close, and we have a connection thing. It's weird magic stuff that I don't fully understand yet. When we're close to each other, it doesn't work. There's no, I'm not compelled to hurt my friend and try and kidnap him. And it's scary when I care about this friend so much, and it's not safe for me to be around him alone. Yep.
I think Masaru, again, he doesn't say this outwardly or like really show it. I think Masaru is more so upset that this is like mostly like magic stuff and therefore not stuff he knows how to deal with. So there's very little that he can do here to help.
I am so sorry, Masaru.
So Masaru kind of just frowns. And I think what he ends up, are you really gonna say that outright? I hold him.
Boy. I chin hands?
I think what he ends up saying is that, what he ends up doing, really, more likely, he kind of sets his pen to rest on the clipboard, and he's not, like, actively writing down as he talks to you, and he looks at you with, like, this sort of seriousness. And I think what he ends up saying is, Sammy, you know that you're more than just a means to an end, right? That you're a lot more than just what people want you for.
He opens his mouth and then just kind of shrinks and looks away. Because all his life, that's what he's been treated as. There are people in his life now who don't treat him like that, but for the majority of his life, he's just been treated like a commodity.
And I think Masaru's expression kind of softens and he says, it might be hard to think like that, especially after living like this for so long. But I can tell you with the utmost certainty that that's not all you are, Sammy. And I've just met you today.
He his fingers kind of just clench at the tissue paper and he's not looking at Arata as he just quietly says, but I don't feel like it. Like,
It's. It's a very difficult thing to unlearn, Sammy, and I can't say that it will be something that you will. It's not a hurdle that you can just jump over. It's more like climbing a mountain. You will get there eventually, but it's going to take time. But until then, I might be able to. Sorry. Excuse me. I might be able to, let's say, give you some tools that might help in the long run.
he blinks and he kind of turns back to look at you, Masaru, and his arms kind of have come up to kind of hug at his sides, and he just goes, "Can are you able to help me not just think of myself as ink? That's how I feel sometimes, that I'm just ink."
I have to write something down really quickly. Okay. And I think the way Masaru answers is, well, I can definitely give it my best try.
He just nods and wobbly smiles.
So, just so we're clear, and he kind of starts and adjusts himself so he's sitting a bit straighter. He says, I'm not just going to tell you to think positively, because that is something that is very difficult to do sometimes, and personally I can understand how difficult that can be. But I can tell you that sometimes whenever you have an intrusive thought that makes you feel like you're less than what you actually are, sometimes working your way up with neutral thoughts can help before you can start thinking positively. Does that make sense?
He nods.
And he continues, look at it this way. If you ever have a thought that makes you feel bad, sometimes just stating things to yourself, things that are just facts and things that you just like, can help counteract that for a little bit. Like, if you think you are just ink, your hair is still very nice.
He goes bright pink. Oh, that wasn't what he was thinking. Blush. Just slightly flustered, and he just kind of tugs at his hair like, "Oh yeah, it's rainbow."
You have siblings that care about you. Now, I'm not saying that it's true, because it's not, that you're just ink, but if you're just ink, you still have people who care about you.
He nods,
You still
and
have pretty clothes.
he is leaning on Arata again, and now he's just kind of burying his face in Arata's shoulder because they're compliments. It's very obvious he's flustered.
And Masaru kind of chuckles a little bit. He's like, all right, I'll stop. But it's thoughts like those that can help a little bit. Do you understand?
He nods.
And like I said, Sammy, it's not something you're just going to get over with in one day. It's going to take time, and sometimes it's going to feel like an impossible task. But the more you practice, the better you'll get at it.
Okay. He said, okay.
You are going to be okay, Sammy. And I can say that with certainty.
He smiles wobbly. Thanks, Doctor. I really appreciate this. And I know it's wishful thinking, and I don't know if it's harmful thinking, but sometimes I wish that everyone in my life could have met me with all of us not having gone through the trauma that we've gone through, that everyone could have happy lives and still have managed to find each other. Don't know what that would look like, but wishful thinking. I know.
Well, there isn't anything wrong with wishing.
Yeah, I guess not. But it's an impossible thought, really. In the end, I'm just glad I've got the people in my life. That's that's what it boils down to. I wouldn't be a person who I am now without them. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my friends and family because I love them, and I think no matter what happens to me, I think knowing that people are out there who care about me gives me hope.
Oop, hang on a second.
Aw, poor Bean. I was not expecting to get into the whole entire ramble about how Sammy's people are his hope. That just came out. It just slipped out, and I'm just like, oh, I guess we're talking about this now. I have emotions. I am having emotions, and my boy is full of soft but also emotions because he is just thinking about all of the connections that he has and how lucky he is to have those. And I just so much trauma, and now my brain is just crying, just the crying hold soft emoji over Sammy and all of his family and friends because that's what he really wants. He wants everybody to be okay and still be in each other's lives. That's all he would like. That would be like a dream come true for him, but like he also recognizes that that's just dreams, and he just wants people. He wants to be in his friends and family's life, and I think he's going to be happy if he can keep being with his family, then he's going to be really happy in the end after this. Like after he's got his mental health back to a more stable line of thinking.
I'm back, by the way. Hi.
Welcome back. I was doing some alone rambling while we waited for you to come back.
Hi. Yeah, I had to
Hi.
go looking for something too while you were talking, so I did hear like a little bit, but like
Mm-hmm.
some of it didn't process because I was still looking for something. But I found it.
E-
Not sure if
Yay!
you should say it.
Oh boy.
I think it might be a little too on the nose, so I think I'll hold on to it and see if there's a better chance later.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
But yeah, Sammy he is just reflecting on the fact that without his friends, he would be a lot worse.
And I think,
Like he says that.
yeah, and I think Masaru straight up says, I suppose that goes to show how interconnected everybody is.
He
Your
nods.
network is your safety net.
Yeah, I, I wouldn't change my friends and family for the world. It's even with my wishful thinking, I just want them happy. I want all of us to be happy in the end.
That's a very admirable thing to want.
And I think I think the best way to do that is just to be myself around them. You know?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I do like you for being you, after all.
Yeah, I like them for being them. Talking about this has helped. Thank you, doctor.
Of course. And he does kind of give you like this big, bright smile, and he says, "That's what I'm here for, after all."
He
Um,
just beams at you.
yeah. Before we wrap up our meeting for today, though, I did want to maybe ask you about something.
Okay.
It's not related to everything else. It's just something that I might have picked up on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sammy, have you ever considered being tested for autism?
But what's an autism?
Oh my god. That sure was a right to respond. Hang on, I have to like.
He's been on the streets for 8 years. He has no idea what medical jargon and whatnot
Alright.
is.
I am going to look something up so I don't botch this up. Again, I'm Yabi, I'm not a
Ye-
medical professional. Don't take anything here seriously. uh
Yeah, no, we're playing funky he who magic dragons and trying to psychoanalyze characters, and uh, we're not professional
we are
by
not
any
professionals
means
here.
necessarily.
And um Masaru kind of just uh kind of laughs. If he were a toon, he would definitely have a sweat drop over his head. Um, hmm. And I think what he ends up saying is, I think I probably should have expected that. uh,
I, I sorry.
no, it's
I
fine. It's
I
fine. Don't worry. Um, let me try and figure out how to answer this. Autism is a sort of developmental disorder, and I should start by saying that people who are autistic, there's nothing wrong with them. It's just that sometimes they think differently from people who aren't autistic. And usually for them, talking to others and interacting with other people is difficult for them to do. Um, by the way, I am just looking at the Google of autism definition.
ye Sammy is just like tilting his head, going, I guess I have a different perspective than some people, and I do get confused on why things happen sometimes. There are just little question marks floating above his head, like equations. Him. Huh?
Yeah, and I think what he ends up saying, um, Masaru continues, this can sometimes uh, sh- develop in show themselves in autistic people by different repetitive patterns, usually in thought and behaviors, or restrictive behaviors and interests.
Like repeated. Oh, like repeated, and then he kind of gets a light bulb above his head right as like he gets really excited and his hands start flapping up and down.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Oh, this."
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
That's
oh,
called stimming. Sometimes
oh, there's a word for it. And there's just even more excited stimming.
there it's a way for certain people to shoot, the words escaped me because I don't have the definition of stimming up. It's a way for people to sort of
Regulate their
gather,
emotions.
yeah, gather their emotions and express them in a way that is not harmful to themselves or others. And it sort of shows in different ways, like what you're doing. You're flapping your hands. Arata here actually does fidget a lot with his hair.
Nod, 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 nod.
And some people have preferences in texture and whatnot. And it really shows itself in different in different ways. And no two people are going to be alike. So when it comes down to it, autism is more of a spectrum than it is an actual binary. Um, that said, I'm not a someone who can actually do a sort of test for you in this case, but I would recommend maybe when you get back to Einquell that you see someone about this if it is something that interests you.
Thank you, doctor. That it's really cool actually to have a term for something that I do
Of course.
because I just did it. I didn't know it was a thing. Like I knew Arata fidgeted with his hair a bit, but I didn't realize that it wasn't just me.
There's actually a lot of people who are on the autism spectrum. It's it's something that's still being researched, and there are ways to, I suppose you could say, cope with it, handle it better. Like I said, some people, it develops differently for different people, so sometimes it makes it very hard for people to interact with others, and sometimes they're just a little different, so to say.
Sammy's just nodding thoughtfully.
God, I hope none of I hope that like none of this is sounding like offensive in any way. I am trying my best here.
You're doing really good, and like also, word of character does not equal belief of the actual nun player.
Yeah. Like yeah, no. Uh
Like you know how like the word strange can like be like I know that you're saying it like in the positive way, but at the same time there's language hard.
yeah, words hard is the long and short of this discussion. Masaru's not trying to make this sound bad is the thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is just
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is something that I noticed you doing, you might want to look into it a bit more.
Yeah, yeah. And like Sammy is definitely taking it that way instead of being like, oh, this is horrible. And he's actually kind of excited to explore this and research it and figure out what the heck this means. He is walking into this pretty blind.
Yeah.
He has not really seen an actual doctor outside of his color specialist since he was, I think, a baby, because that was the last time that he really had like a checkup. I think, because his parents are assholes.
Woof.
And like it's not like he was like really ever deathly ill or anything. So like they never really took him to the hospital.
It's okay. He has inmate as his primary care physician.
He does. He's probably gonna bring it up to inmate and just go, I don't know if you can really actually do this, but can you point me in the right direction if you don't?
They most certainly will. But yeah, I think that's all that I had for the FPS. So Masaru kind of wraps up the meeting, and he tells you that you're free to reach out to him at any time. And as you and Arata leave, I'm gonna do a really quick ending scene because I think it's fun to do those.
Yes.
The camera pans back to the office as you and your brother leave, and the door closes, and Masaru takes a seat at his desk and sets the clipboard down on it before he just kind of sighs and all but slumps back into the chair and rubs a hand against his face, you know, doing that same thing he did earlier where he pushed his glasses up. And under his breath, he kind of just mumbles, "Why is it always the children?" And that's it.
Oh, my heart.
Thank you, Mira, so much for playing with me.
Thank you so much, Avi, for letting me do this. Also, I am so sorry that this turned into a Sammy recap of all his trauma.
No, it's fine. I enjoyed it a lot.
Okay, good. I wasn't really intending it because I knew it was supposed to be like the just get to know you, but no, Sammy just wanted to talk.
Which is fair. That does tell Masaru quite a bit about Sammy in and of itself. But that's been really fun.
I do chin hands at you. Like I'm like, oh, I really want to know Masaru's like impression of Sammy now.
I'm gonna tell you that off screen.
Oh yeah, no, we can totally do that off screen. But I'm just like sitting here going, oh. I am always game for other character interpretation of my character and vice versa, because Sammy like actually like by the act of like just blurting all of this stuff out actually really is just like, oh, A, I feel a lot better. B, I actually really trust this guy now. See, I can see why Arata trusts him now. Also, potential diagnosis investigation go brr.
But yeah, I think even as you leave, he probably did let you take more snacks with you, so you have those.
He just has a huge pile of snacks. I should add that to his fumble chart. Just a pile of snacks from Haruki's office.
Bizarre. Oh god. And thank you so much to our audience for listening in, both now and in the future. For now, we are going to bid you a good time zone. Bye!
Bye!